This meeting is being live streamed. It says we live.
Let's record it.
Yeah, please do so you can send it to me because I can't download it from some reason off of
All right.
YouTube. It says we live.
All right. Let's see.
Yeah, please do so you can send it to me because I can't download it from some reason off. I can hear it back to me. Oh, that's eerie. We live.
Okay. I had to get off of, take the YouTube off. That's why we were doing getting the echo thing.
Oh, okay. Which is kind of funny
You
because
know
I
how
was
you-
talking this week about how I don't like the sound of my voice. And someone was telling me that I need to listen to my voice a little bit more because, that is my gift. My gift is my voice. And so now I was like sitting here listening. I was like, okay, this is real synchronicities because I was told I need to listen to my voice this week. And now I've just been listening to my voice. Thanks, universe.
So you gotta love it.
You gotta love it, when they hand things to you and you have no idea why or what's going on. But what is it? How do you make the best of it?
That is the point. That's the
You
point.
know,
And
like
I guess that's what we're going to talk about today.
I
How do you
guess
make the
so.
best of it? So we are live. This is Straight Talk with Megan and Tammy. We are live and we are going to talk about how do you make the best of it. And and that's a perfect subject because today I did a live on shifting your identity because that really is the space that we are in, is shifting our identity, shifting from what we used to be or what we thought we were into who we know we are.
Right.
And so how do we make the best of it when we are in this space where we're shifting this identity, we see ourselves in the spaces where we desire to be, but reality hasn't quite caught up to that yet. You know, we
Right.
we know that this is who we are and this is what we're supposed to do and all of that, but reality hasn't caught up to it yet. And so we're, still in this, it feels like a space of limbo, because that this is who you are. You know that you are an amazing, awesome goddess, and you know that, you are supposed to have or do all the things that you're supposed to do. Thank you for tapping. But, the thing is what do you do in the middle? While you're in that space where, you are shifting, but maybe you haven't quite shifted. What do you do in that space where, you know that you're abundant, but you don't have two nickels to rub to your name? What do you do? What's your thought process? Make it speak
I
on
don't
it.
think it's I don't think it's thought process. I think that's kind of what you have to get out of. And this is where you have to understand everything in this world is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you believe it or not, it's a game. It's a vortex. We are living in a game. And
Yeah.
right there, when you're in that shift, when you're in that limbo stage, this is when you got to kind of become a little delusional, people. This is where it's kind of the fairy tale. This is where that fairy tale kind of comes in, and it's that daydreaming because of the fact that you're putting stuff in motion, you feel it happening, but how do you make it so the train doesn't stop? Well, we do that through emotion. We do that through the feeling and that experience. And so this is now, it's like right now, it's like you got to live in daydream land. Like each moment that you can of fantasizing of, okay, like what is that new job going to feel like? What is it going to feel like making that paycheck? What is it going to feel like you're going to be buying that stuff to decorate that house? Picking out that wall color. What's that furniture going to look like? What is it going to feel like opening that door and
Yeah.
walking into your house? The reality of, guys, is we have to, and your internal dialogue plays a big factor into this as well. Because think about it, guys, internal dial. Where's your dial focused to? Are you sitting there and are you sitting there saying, oh, this isn't going to happen? Oh, this is so dumb. This is such bullshit. This is so stupid, everything like that. Oh my God, this is just never going to happen, and this is not me talking out loud, guys. This is the conversation you're having with your inside your head, you know, oh my God, there's no point in me even looking at that car. You can't fucking afford it. Why are you even doing it? You're not going to be able to afford that. Well, yeah, you're exactly right. If you keep telling yourself that you're never going to be able to afford that, you're going to be able to afford that.
And you
You're
won't be
telling
able to
yourself that.
afford it. Whatever you tell yourself, whatever you
Right.
tell yourself is true for you. That's the thing.
100%.
It's true for you. If you tell yourself you can't afford it, then you'll never be able to afford it. You can't afford it. But if you
Yeah.
tell yourself that you can, and y'all know what the news flash is too, something that I learned being in business a little while, doing different things. I've been in business all my life, but different things, you know what I mean? People will believe what you tell them if you believe it.
Oh God, yes.
You
Oh
believe
yes.
it, they'll believe it.
Yeah.
And
It's all
and
about confidence.
I was going to say, once you learn that, and once you realize that, and then you also, use that on yourself. Tell
Yeah.
yourself. I'm telling y'all, I told myself so long, regardless of how fat I thought I was, regardless of how thin, well, that was never a case, but regardless of where I was or what I was at, where I was at, I still told myself that I was beautiful. And you know what?
Well,
I
you are.
believed it at first, but then there was a time where the shift came and I had been saying it and saying it and saying it, and then I believe it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I believed it. And then and that's the space. It's like you're right there in that your miracle is here,
Yeah.
right? You're right there in that space where your miracle is here. You've done the work, you're doing the things, the shift is here. You know what I mean? It's like you can touch it. You know it's here.
Well, guys, remember this also. Fear and faith both require you to believe in the unseen.
Yes.
So are you going to believe in the fear of that you can't do it? Or are you going to believe in the faith of that you can do it? I mean,
Yes.
that's a choice, and that's another thing I think people, you have a choice on everything you do. And even this.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
you're in that shift and you feel that limbo, and I get it, guys, Tammy and I have both been there, do not
Woo!
think, like, I mean, just sitting there and it does, and it gets hard. And it gets hard when you realize, like, you've been busting your ass, you've been putting in so much time, you have made so many strides, you're like, even say for like Tammy and I, our names are well known, everything like that. We have all these accomplished, we have all these accomplishments under, and when you're still not reaching where it is that you feel you believe you should be,
Yes.
it is frustrating. It is completely just like, in some ways, humiliating because
Yeah.
you believed in yourself so much that you put so much on the line. You did so much because you believe in yourself. And
Hell,
yet there's
embarrassed.
embarrassed, humiliated, yeah, both of it. Weird, but it's like, but you still believe it. You still feel it, even though the outer world is not. And it kind of goes against, it's kind of like a contradiction to everything that is said of like, oh, well, your internal will eventually match your external, blah, blah,
So
blah,
I'm supposed to look like a fool until that happens?
right. But the reality of it, it is true. And
Yeah.
it does happen, but these are the shifts that you have to do because, as my favorite quote is out by Albert Einstein. And this is something we need to remember, on so many levels, because one, you do need to remember you are a spiritual being having a human experience.
Yes.
Okay. But Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who earn it, I mean, those who understand it earn it, and those who don't pay it. You
Yep.
have a spiritual bank account. It constantly, what are you putting into your spiritual bank account? Are you constantly putting in or are you constantly subtracting from it?
Yes.
Because that's gonna match here on it. So are you putting in? And yeah, guys, I can get it because you know what? I know for a fact that my spiritual bank account has billions of dollars in it. Okay. Because for my journey of this life, guess what? The only thing that has ever been a constant in my life is my belief in God. And, and now my belief has changed over the years as to, it was a white man up in the sky and all that type of stuff like that, to now be, a source of energy, but I've grown and I've evolved in my education and my belief into God. But the still the main aspect is that I've always believed in God and I've always given it up to God. And, so I know, so yeah, it's frustrating sometimes where I'm like, all right, I get and I understand that I am a spiritual being having a human experience, but
Yes.
mother focos, listen up, spirit team. I got physical needs. I live in a physical world. So it's great that I have that spiritual. What?
No, I'm just waiting for you to get done with
Oh,
that.
I was gonna say, like, it's great that I have this spiritual bank account, and I
Mhm.
know it's got billions, but guess what? It ain't doing me no damn bit of good right now. So I need you to kind of like allow some of it to flow, but it can get frustrating. But that's like where we put up a wall to protect ourselves, and we have to let that wall go, and we still have to now. We have to live in the delusional world. We have
Yes.
to become that image. And a
Because
card.
I was gonna say Abraham Hicks talks about it like this. She'll say, I remember one thing I was watching, and she said, the person said, "Well, Abraham, I understand it's in the vortex, but I need it out of the vortex and into the bank."
Yes. Yeah. That, and that is that's exactly as to what it needs to be. And but how do we do that? Well, we got to continue to have that faith. We got to continue, and shoot, I had a card pop up and I'm trying to remember which one it was earlier today, but it just felt very fitting to read this right now. And it's actually a very beautiful card. If It's the Eight of Air,
Oh, that is beautiful. Oh my
isn't
gosh.
it?
Take that.
But it's the Eight of Air where it says release from denial, seeing things as they are, clarity. With spirit at my side encouraging me, I open my eyes to see things as they really are. To be disillusioned is to free myself from illusions that keep me from growth, healing, and the healing I deserve. So I bid goodbye to illusions that have clouded my vision. Honesty gives me strength and courage to face whatever I have to face.
I love that.
But we have to step out of, the fact of the matter is
We live in our comfort zones.
we live in the comfort zones, and you're delusional if you think anything is going to change
Well,
by
it's like
doing
that
the same
definition of
thing over and over.
insanity. Like
I
that
love that.
definition of insanity.
I
Keep
don't get why people don't grasp that.
expecting different results. It's like apparently what you're doing isn't working. So maybe you need
But
to
people want to
shift,
hold
you
on
need to
to it.
pivot. Well,
Yeah, but
it's
people
the
want to
same,
hold on to it.
it's the same thing like people that, won't move for opportunities.
Yeah,
Like they're around their family and oh, my family's all here and oh, I can't go, but I'm over here making $12 an hour and I could be over here making 50, but I'm gonna stay over here because my family is here. You know what I
right.
mean? It's to me, it's that kind of
Cut the umbilical cord.
mentality. Yes. I mean, if it's time for you to go, it's time for you to, open up to new opportunities and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
see so many times. I think about that movie that Spike Lee did with about Katrina. And the little boy
Mhm.
was on there, and this thing hit me. It was just impressed upon me because I still remember it.
I was born in New Orleans and I'm
I'm
gonna die in New
dying.
Orleans.
Like 12, 13
No,
years
buddy.
old. Why how are you gonna be so limited?
Yeah.
But this is how people are, and the same thing in this arena. It's like people,
100%.
people are, it's like they get stuck on one thing. They're over here, oh, it's the law of attraction and this and this and that. And yes, the law of attraction is amazing. But what the law of attraction is an umbrella. There's all those other different laws underneath of it.
Yeah.
The
But
law
what
of
people don't really get, the law of attraction, guys, like I uh you have no idea how like frustrated I get with people with law of attraction, because law of attraction, guys, goes off your internal dialogue. That's where your magnet is. So whatever way you have it pointed, you can sit there all day long and be sitting there doing manifesting. You can do your affirmations. You can do all of that shit. But guess what? That's all in vain, as to what it says. But
because
the reality of it is,
you're still at your set point.
you're still at your set point. You're still at the fear. You don't really believe it's going to happen. You wish it
Right.
would. You wish it would. You wish it would. You wish it would. Well, you can wish in one hand and shit in the other one and see which one gets filled faster, people. And I used to hate that saying as a kid, or my father used to say it, but it is true. You know,
My mom used to say, well, you should just wish on a star.
no, I was told to wish in one hand and shit in the other one and see which one gets filled faster.
Well,
Because shit would happen. But you do have to wish, but you have to believe in the wish that it is done.
see, and this is the thing that doesn't get me about uh people that identify as Christian people, or Bible thumper people or whatever. You
Yeah.
know, it says that you have to believe, right? You have
Yeah.
to ask and you got to believe.
Yeah. Ask
So
and you shall
you're,
receive.
if you're asking, why wouldn't you believe? And the other
But I
part is,
think
if you're
people
not
forget
believing, you're
about
not
that
asking, right?
right there. But I think people forget that. And I think that some people they just go to the aspects of I ask, therefore I receive. Whether I'm deserving or not shouldn't matter. It doesn't care. But you still have to believe that you deserve to get what it is that you're asking for.
Yeah, because people use those laws that are definitely not religious,
Yeah.
because the laws are the truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, no, I mean they believed.
Yeah. You have to believe.
They have to,
And
they believed that they were going to get it. They believed that it was done. They believed that it was theirs. They believed that they were that particular person. And that's the journey. Because for me, it's like I am full on embodying the frequency of abundance. When I tell you, every day I learn a little bit more about it, and
yep.
doors open for me in that way. And then the other thing too is, as you're in that space where you're shifting, you have to stay in that place of being happy. Even if you just take yourself to that place where because sometimes I'll feel something and I'm like, okay, no, no, no. Then I'll put some music on and I'll dance.
Yep.
I'll throw Mary J. Blige Just Fine out there. I'll do some Tupac. I'll just put something on. I'll put my, you can do it, put your back into it, Ice Cube. I'll put something on that I can dance, and that shifts it for me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's something that I have learned about myself.
Right.
Other people that might not work for them, but for me, I'm shifted. And
Yep.
that is like the space, and if we can really just internalize that, if we can just say, okay, yes, I do believe this, and actually speak it and know it and feel it and touch it and put ourselves in the place and put ourselves in the end and put ourselves at the wish fulfilled, where are we going to be?
Yep.
Where are we going to be?
Yep.
And something you said one day, we were having a conversation, and something you said, and I meant to tell you about it. But something you said got me. And I was like, wow, you said, we were talking about something, and you said, put a date on it, put a time frame on it. And I was like, you know what? She's right about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I meant to like tell you, thank you, girl. I appreciate that. But yeah, I was like, yeah, because what happens a lot of times is we're afraid to put a time frame on it because we don't believe it.
Yeah.
We don't put a time
Or
frame on it. We don't
I'm gonna
believe
tell y'all, it doesn't always happen that way too, because I'll tell you, there are quite a bit of stuff that I have put timestamps on it.
it. Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Those timestamps have come and passed. But here's the thing about that though. I've also put so many things in play. So many things that not everything can always, but that doesn't mean it's still not happening. So you
Right.
can't get down on yourself if you put a date and it doesn't happen, because you got to look at, well, are you only focusing on one thing, or do you got maybe a whole bunch of things going on right now? Personally, for
Yes.
myself, I got a
Yes.
whole bunch of things coming on. And so, not that I'm being unrealistic in my expectations at all, I'm not, but there's some order, there's some law and order that, it's kind of got to come in. And, and I think some of my card readings, the universe has reminded me of that, like law and order, like, hey, you asked for this one first. We're trying this one. Just be a little patient with us, like chill out, girl. So sometimes you do, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen,
Yeah.
but be patient. You got to give grace. You've got to, because again, like you can't stop a train on a dime. So you
Right.
put so much in motion, but do you still, and I think sometimes also this could be a faith test. It is a
Yes.
test of that,
Yes.
even though it didn't happen. And you guys got to remember, like, source can be mean. Source can be mean, whether y'all want to agree with it or not, it can be. And so, sometimes it is, you're being tested. Like, do you truly believe? Do you truly believe that this is going to happen? We're going to throw a little, curveball at you. And do you still stick with it? Do you still believe in it?
I'm telling you, I'm telling y'all, when when you start hitting that frequency of abundance, that thing, I mean, it's such a powerful energy. And I have felt it before, but I've never felt it as consistently as I feel it now. Now I feel like I stay in it. Before I felt like I bounce in, bounce out. I believe today, tomorrow, some shit happens. I don't believe, all of this. But at this place and at this point, it's like, no, this is the frequency, because when you're there, what it does is you attract everything that you desire, everything that you want, everything that you need, everything that you think. You attract these things. You start
Yeah.
attracting. And regardless of what's happening, if something crazy happens, just like, I was talking to Megan and I shared, matter of fact, I'm going to share it because I already shared it on a live already. But I shared about how, our car was towed. And in the past, it would have unnerved me. I would have got crazy. I would have been really upset and I would have been cussing, all the things. But I knew that everything was okay regardless. And I knew that that was a test for me that I passed, because I had been asking for growth, and I had been, I've been doing a lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, a lot of work, and so I've been asking for that. And so when I saw that, and it was like, I mean, there was no, like, I didn't even get that feeling in my stomach, in my solar plexus, none of that, none of that.
Right.
It was just an amazing, amazing time, because I knew that everything was okay. I didn't stress at all. Not at all. There was not even. And I was so proud of myself, and David was so proud of me. Because he knows, I'm a spicy Scorpio, I'm spicy. So I was like, all right, but this was like so perfect of a time, because it's at that space where I have decided that I am embodying abundance, that I am abundance, that abundance
Yep.
is me. Abundance is my birthright. This is what I'm supposed to have.
Yep.
This is who I am. So nothing is going to bother me in any way about anything, as far as if I desire it.
Right.
But that's a space that, I've been doing the work to get to. And I'm not perfect, y'all. I ain't perfect. None of that.
We
And
all have our setbacks. We all have our moments of
I'm,
self-doubt.
because I felt like, for a time, I felt like I would take 2 steps forward and 3 back.
Yeah.
Shit, what the hell is going on? And it's
Yeah.
almost like in your mind, better. It's like when they gave me Demerol. I knew I was doing stupid stuff, but I couldn't stop it. So that's just not a drug that I take. But it's like, you're like, I know better than this, and I know that this is true. You know what
Right.
I mean? So, when you put a date on it and you put a time on it, and you qualify it and you lay it down, then you believe it.
Yep.
You believe it. And when you begin to really release identities that no longer serve you, because that's the thing. Because we all have identities that we think of that no longer serve us, that we thought we were. Even things down to little things like I didn't think I could put things together. That's an identity that I had. But guess what? I can, because I am sitting here in front of the desk that I put together all by myself. And that's a little thing. But for me, it's huge, because
Yeah.
I really honestly, would say that's just not in my skill set. Not in my skill set. I can't do that. Maybe that's for other people to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once you get to that space where you are, releasing those identities that no longer serve you and embodying the ones that do, and really taking time out, and to really, connect and to, sit down with your team, sit with I talked to a friend of mine. She says she sits with her ancestors a certain day a week,
Yeah.
sits with her angels and her archangels and goddesses and all the people. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
is an interesting thing to do, you know?
Yeah.
So, so I'm done. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm good on that on today, but but that's really is it's just it's being kind to yourself, guys. But the number one thing, if you want stuff to happen and you got to change in your life, it is your internal dialogue. How are you talking to yourself? Where are you setting yourself up? Where are you feeling? You're the one standing in your way. You
Yeah.
know, I tell people all the time, like people, and it's kind of funny, I haven't told many people of this and stuff like that, but I think I need to let the cat out of the bag. If you've watched us before, y'all know that I talk about my ABCs of self love of like what I do. People don't realize it, but that's like EMDR. Like when I make people, my clients and stuff like that, like they have to look in the mirror and you got to build yourself up. You got to build yourself up. But how are you building yourself up? Or are you tearing yourself down? You may not think it has any impact on you. You may not think that this voice, but seriously, look at your life.
Yep.
Look at where the things are going. Just as long with the card that I just read to you, see things as they really are.
Yep.
You know, you're the one, you're building yourself up or you're the one beating yourself up. The choice is yours.
Yes.
No matter whatever your situation has been in life, maybe you were abused, but you know what? You're not being abused now. You're choosing to abuse yourself now. You can
Yes.
have whatever fucking excuse you want because I'm so honestly tired of people in the mindset type aspect and the blaming. But we're you're adults if you're watching us, and it's all about choices, and it's all about choices are you making, and it's that simple. Are you choosing to beat yourself up, or are you choosing to love yourself? Your internal dialogue sets where it is, and look at some people who necessarily an example of it would be is maybe they weren't that bad looking when they're younger, but they're really ugly now. Well, that's an example of what their external match. Like, sorry, but it is true because they always thought they were ugly and now they are ugly because their internal finally caught up with their external. You know,
Yes.
it's how it all goes. Everything is in your internal because, and as it was brought up to me the other day, let's think about it, guys. Your heart was the first thing that they knew why you were alive. When your mama found out that she was pregnant with you, they went and they listened to your heartbeat.
Yes.
It's your first brain. Are you talking good to yourself? Are you loving yourself? Because that's all
Yes.
that matters.
Yes.
Love yourself. And on that, I'm good for today.
Yeah. That and you know what? I think that'll do it. Because the thing is, when you start to love yourself, then all kinds of everything else will begin to fall in place.
Yep.
Because that's
Everything you've
like
wanted.
the open door.
Oh, it is
Love.
the door. You're closing everything else. When you close your heart off, you're closing your heart off to the world.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Y'all, this has been amazing. It's been amazing. I've always enjoyed it. We enjoy it. We'll be back in 2 more weeks, right?
Yep.
I think that's been amazing. I think that's a nice spot.
I think close down. My battery's about to die too, so that works.
Okay. So we will definitely be back again in a couple of weeks. Thank y'all for joining us. Those on TikTok. Thank you, Denise, for hanging out with us. Um, Thank y'all for joining us on YouTube and anywhere else that you see us. This is such an amazing time. And we thank you. And we will be
Yeah.
back again. We're doing all kinds of stuff. Continue to follow us. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Follow us all over social media, everywhere that we are. And yeah, love you.
Mwah.
Can't wait.